On Wednesday and Thursday, Hurricane Hugo was an ominous threat. By early Friday morning, it had become a terrifying reality.
Wpde reports area residents began surveying the damage and counting their blessings.
Jim and Janice Wilson are very thankful today. Thankful that they and their 20-month-old baby made it through Hurricane Hugo relatively unharmed.
Well, the wind started blowing real heavy, and I looked out the window, and the trees was waving back and forwards. And about 2:30, 3 o'clock, we noticed one tree had fell, and it came through the roof of my house, and I was inside. And next thing I knew, looked out the other window, and all the other trees started falling, and I looked out, and it fell on a couple of my automobiles here, and this was about 3:30 this morning.
While the eye of the storm didn't come through our area, strong winds did knock down trees, blocking roads and damaging homes. And with the damage being so widespread, residents knew they had to begin cleaning up on their own.
This is a neighborhood project. Anytime anything happens like this, the neighbors come together, and we decided that if we did have an emergency, we wanted the street so the fire trucks, ambulance, whatever, could come down.
One of the hardest hit parts around Florence was the hotel area near the intersection of I-95 and Highway 52. These hotels were jam-packed with people who fled the coast in search of safer ground. Little did they realize that Hugo would rip the roof off the Travelers Inn and throw it into the parking lot. Many cars were damaged, but no people were seriously injured.
A lot of noise, a lot of wind, the trees were bending, pretty bad, sounded like freight trains were hitting us. We ran into the bathroom after we boarded up the window, and our roof caved in on us and was slowly torn off. I mean, it was phenomenal. You could just hear like a wind and then pieces flying and hitting. You couldn't see anything if you looked out the window because it was dark, but you could hear things, and you weren't sure what or where it was going, whether it was a car or a roof or whatever.
For now, many people are still in a state of shock, waiting for the electricity to come on and gearing up for the long process of rebuilding. In Florence, Wpde, WPDE Action News.
As folks continue to assess the damage, the cry for help is being heard loud and clearly by insurance agencies.
Jana Rocha is standing by live now with more details.
Well, Bob and Lily, I'm standing here at one of the most heavily damaged areas in Florence County. Now, what you see here behind me was once a mobile home. Now it's just a pile of junk, and it's havoc like this all across the state that's going to cost about $1 billion to repair. And you can imagine just how insurance companies across the state have been bombarded with calls.
He says he has a broken sign. It hit the roof and it did minor damage.
One by one, the stories of Hugo's destruction are coming in.
Because of the volume of claims, they're going to handle it on a priority basis. The worst ones, the people that are not able to live in their house or the house is destroyed, they're going to get #1 priorities.
And if you're not on the priority list, insurance agents say your best bet is to make temporary repairs before your home gets more damage. Policies will take care of costs later on. They also advise folks to be patient, not a small price to pay compared to those who don't have insurance.
I'm probably one of the few people in this world that don't carry insurance. I have no insurance, zero.
We had some people call the day Thursday that had never had insurance on their home and wanted it insured, and we had a moratorium, could not place coverage. I feel sorry for those people.
For those who don't have insurance, hopefully the government will offer adequate aid. But no matter how you look at it, it's going to take a lot longer than a few days, weeks, or even months to get back on the right road, especially along the Grand Strand. Now, one thing authorities don't want you to do, and that is to hire just anyone to help clean up damage, because if there's more damage at this point, insurance companies just may not pay for it. They say that they know that this has been a very shocking and emotional and destructive storm, but the best thing to have right now is patience. Bob?
Janet, I assume that is the remnants of a trailer behind you or a mobile home?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
At least 40 National Red Cross workers are on their way to the PD. The Florence County Red Cross director says the additional personnel will help provide food and shelter for those who need it.
We will have in operation a system of helping those of you. If you really want to help and you're a volunteer, those people who want to help thinking of clothes and food, Red Cross will need money rather than those things.
Meanwhile, 150 extra crews are working to restore power to the PD. Hopefully by tonight, 75% of CP&L customers will have power. More than 100 PD electric workers are busy as well. Their customers should have all power in at least 2 more days. Lily?
Folks in a hurry to return their homes and lives back to normal need to keep a very few important points in mind. Marty Tyre has this report.
It will take years to repair the damage Hurricane Hugo has caused in the Palmetto State, and owners of homes and businesses beginning the slow process of picking up debris are looking for assistance. However, that help could cause more harm if it's not given proper thought.
If you get in too big a hurry, you're going to maybe make mistakes. And someone comes by and wants to take your tree off, use your common sense, because you'll know where you're getting charged too much or not enough to justify the cost. And make the people explain to you why they're charging that much or that little. Make sure they got liability coverage. Ask for the insurance company's name. Call the insurance company. Because believe me, if they get hurt on your property, then you're going to be liable for it.
A lot of people will be out using chainsaws that have never used them or don't use them on a regular basis. Phil has said that their experience is that they will have a number of injuries from uses of chainsaws or limbs coming off and hurting people that didn't take proper precautions in doing it.
Many folks are raking and sweeping up the trash and burning it on their lawns. However, according to Governor Campbell, fires could be a problem.
Water pressure is either very low or non-existent in some of these communities. So people have to be extremely cautious of fires.
The Department of Public Works will be coming by to pick up debris if it is piled in front of homes and businesses. Picking up after Hugo can be almost as dangerous as the hurricane itself without proper precautions. Those involved are urging sightseers and non-professionals who are just trying to help out to use their best judgment and stay away from major cleanup operations. Without proper training and instruction, your life could be in serious danger. Reporting from Florence, Marty Tyre, Wpde Action News.
Well, as if damage to homes and businesses wasn't enough, there's a chance of rain in the next few days for the PD region. Buildings with roof damage have owners concerned that more destruction is on the way.
Well, we're concerned about that, but more concerned about the trees that are leaning that might fall if it rains, the ground gets soggy or the wind starts blowing.
Officials say tarp plastic, plywood board, and lots of towels are the best solutions. However, insurance agencies stress that pictures or videotape must be taken to ensure a proper claim.
And speaking of weather,
Tom Searles has been doing yeoman service, and you're back at it again.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be the never-ending saga. I've been talking to a lot of people across the area. They say, Tom, you suddenly stopped smiling within the last week. And I told them I had very little to smile about. I think now we can all kind of relax a little bit and begin to take a look back. Through it all, through Hurricane Hugo, we kept stressing the strength of this storm. The very first thing I would like to talk to the people about on our show tonight is the fact that Hugo was indeed quite a large situation as a storm goes, especially as a hurricane goes. We have different levels of hurricanes. Wanted to educate the folks a little bit about those different levels. The last time we encountered a hurricane here on our shores, it was a Category 1 with minimal damage. That, of course, coming in 1984, Hurricane Diana. Look down the list there to Category 4. Damage extreme, winds 131 to 155, storm surge in excess of 13 feet. That was Hurricane Hugo. Hurricane Hugo was born out across the waters of the Atlantic, as all hurricanes that strike our coast are born. It was born like, a week and a half ago, going way, way back, and hit land with the maximum winds of 155 miles an hour a week ago Friday. Monday it crossed through Puerto Rico, and then by noon on Wednesday we really began to take serious note of Hurricane Hugo, and then landfall. Midnight Thursday, it was quite an explosive storm. What did the storm look like from the sky as it began to make its progress? Well, we have for you a taped version of our satellite loop of Hurricane Hugo as it blasted its way right into the coastline on top of Charleston, South Carolina. You can tell the progress of the storm as it made its way into the shore of South Carolina. The damage down around the Charleston area was quite a bit more extensive than it was up around our area, but nonetheless, around areas such as Georgetown, Pawleys Island, the damage was very intense indeed. I have another graphic to show you here that will give you an idea of what the wave action was like down around the South Coast area. It looks something like this as the high waters rushed in and then the waves pounded the buildings on top of that. Let's take a brief look now at what we had inland in our area, according to Hugo. As far as the eye of the storm goes, it came very far inland and tracked on top of Sumter and Camden before finally ending up in Charlotte. Maximum winds through the area in Florence 80 to 100, 100 plus mile an hour winds in Georgetown, South Carolina. So that's the way Hugo ran its course through our